I mean, he's in if we can get that credit approved. Either one, it doesn't matter. And is it ownership?
Yeah.
Yeah.
118,000.
Big system.
208 on average. Look at the sign on their door. I'm gonna get the sign on their door. Soliciting.
The house number is 1208. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Hey guys, sure.
Good to see you.
Hey, buddy.
He's just
A lot more friendly than the other one. Good to see you again, man.
yeah, you too.
This is Kyle. He's just training today. I'm Taylor. I was the one that put together the whole system for you.
Okay.
And this is Chris.
Nice to meet you.
So I got it all set. I don't know if there's like a small corner of a table I could sit, kind of show you how it all looks.
See that here.
Perfect. You got a pool in the back?
Yeah, we do.
Nice, cool. So it's perfect, right in the shade. Works for me. So you got a pretty unique situation, and just kind of show you, this is the pre-design, you can hold it. And if you look at the bottom, basically, this is just indicating like this portion of the roof is completely south. And even if I go into the winter months, it's a true south-facing roof. And the benefit of a true south-facing roof is I can use less panels to produce all the electricity that we need in the house. So cool. I pretty much have a cut and dry process that I go through with families that I help get involved with the program. And hi, how are you? I'm Taylor. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I was the one that put together the system for you.
Okay.
And what I was just showing them is that you guys have like a really good location just based on it being true south, which it's just with an east-west home, I have to use almost double the amount of panels, which cuts into the savings. And for a lot of people, they go solar to save money. Other people do it for the control, the predictability, the environment. And you know, I always like to tell people, like, I thank you for the time that you've given me. It's not a long, drawn-out process. All I really do is break down both situations and then kind of go through, you know, the difference, and really the destination I'm trying to get you to is, you know, something like that with the P&M bill, where you can see that the amount due was $0. And they actually had a negative credit balance because they were producing all the power on site.
How do they grab it back, and how does that work?
Yeah, so how it works is the easiest way for me to analogize it is similar to like rollover minutes with AT&T. If you produce more power than you currently use, what happens is there's something called an inverter, and it's all stored in the meter. So every time you use a kilowatt, it moves in one direction, 17, 18 cents, 17, 18 cents.
Okay.
When we produce all the power on site and your overproduction gets stored into the meter, which reflects on the utility bill, so that there's some months where you might produce more than you use, and there's some months where you might actually consume more than you produce.
Right.
So like if you had a credit balance, you're able to utilize those. Like there's usually a couple months in the summer where your kilowatt average doubles and you're eating up the piggy bank in those certain months. So this is what the new systems look like. You can kind of tell the difference with the older equipment compared to the newer equipment. It's a lot more low profile on the house. Obviously this isn't a solar panel, but that kind of looks like how the panels look compared to the ones that you see with like the lines in them. And then as far as like the biggest questions I get from families, I think those are the 6. What happens to my roof? It keeps the house a lot cooler in the summer. We obviously have to survey the roof first to make sure
It was just replaced 3 or
Perfect.
4 years ago, so it's new.
Perfect. So we want to make sure the roof is structurally sound, but also it'll keep the house cooler because the panels will absorb the sunlight. If you guys ever move, it transfers over the same way P&M would. It's just now you're taking the equity rather than giving it away, because it's like the utility bill is 100% interest. If you move, they don't give you any of that money back. What does it cost? The idea is when I create this chart for us, I'm going to show you like an apples to apples comparison. If I can't take the money you're giving to P&M to fund the project, we don't even do it. So we want to redirect something you're renting or liability into an asset and almost get the money you're giving to P&M to end up funding the entire project.
And then that's until it's paid off? I mean, how long?
Yep, so there's a few different options, but ultimately there is an end game once you own the system outright. I'll show you like the gross, the net, the tax credits, and then, you know, some people pay off the system in 3 or 5 years and they don't have an electric bill. Some people just want to take the money they were giving and maximize their savings. So, you know, I'm going to be able to show that. Chris is just finalizing the design right now. And this is the bigger issue that I continue to find here, is they continue to red zone these areas. Once an area is red zoned, then people can't get solar, and that's when we're getting the most inquiries, is after an area gets red zoned. Then they realize they get red zoned and they're like, hey, can I get solar? And then we're like, we can't do it because we can't interconnect to the meter, which is one of the most important parts of being able to get.
Because your grid has capacity for every area.
Yep. So the way that it works is right now we're using 140-year-old infrastructure. The heat here in New Mexico stresses the grid, and whenever something needs to be updated, they go to the public utility commissions and they file for rate increases. Mm-hmm. So the last year's like 9.25, the 10.75 coming up, they just continue to raise the amount that we pay. It's just because they own the grid. It's the only way to power homes. Exactly. It's just how it's how it is. You know, it's like I tell people when I go through this process, it's either going to make sense or it's going to sound too good to be true, and people want to know the catch, and I say P&M's the monopoly. We've never had a second option. So the second option is producing it on site, and then we shift from the red to the blue, which I don't think people are going solar for the initial savings. I think it's more so for the control and predictability, and then being independent from the utility company, because the savings is just a byproduct of what's happening through ownership.
And then if we have banked power and we have a rolling brownout like Texas has constantly.
Yep.
So I still have power because I've got it banked in my little side house unit a little bit?
The short answer is no, you don't.
Okay.
And the reason being is because all the systems are grid dependent. Technically, if you got super technical, because I've been doing this since 2014, yes, the system could work, but then it's going to be backfeeding, and because of safety concerns, the utility company doesn't allow it. Same way power would go out, it would go out like normal. If it turned back on, it would turn on like normal. If you had a generator already, that would work like it already does.
So our neighbors that have the Tesla with the big power bank, they're actually able to hold it for a blackout because they've got such a big bank that they got with their system.
So what I think, and just after doing this for so long, we can do battery option, but the battery option, they last 8 to 10 years, where I would suggest doing a whole home generator, because the battery, unless you got multiple batteries, is only going to be able to do the bare minimum in the household.
And they're expensive.
They're expensive, and it's just most people, what I do is if it's something where you lose a tower a ton, I'm going to show you both options and do whatever you guys like, but 9 out of 10 times when I really explain it, unless somebody's like really like, I want a battery, they end up doing a whole home generator, and that's like.
But we don't have power outages now. I'm just wondering if it starts to happen, if we start to have the failure that Texas has constantly, because everyone moved there.
Texas has just approved $19 billion going into the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So like people in Texas don't realize this, but like I started doing this in Massachusetts, and we were paying 13-14 cents a kilowatt. Now it's 40 cents a kilowatt. Overnight last winter they did an 80% increase, and it's just nothing anybody can really do.
We upgraded our air conditioning system last year, which has helped.
Yep.
Because our system was old and struggling and working too hard. So our cost has come down a little bit by doing that.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you guys lived here?
Since we built 19 years ago.
Cool. And you're from this area originally?
Nope.
What part?
From the East Coast.
Where?
Florida.
Nice. That's where I live right now. I travel all over the country. I joke around. I say because I live in Naples, which is like everyone, like my whole neighborhood is all like all older. But Naples is like I love living in Naples because I'm 2 hours from Tampa, 2 hours from Orlando, hour and a half from Miami. I travel a lot, so my wife, like I'm not having to worry about crime in my area. No. You know, it's super clean, it's super safe. We're about 1.5 miles from the ocean, but we live in kind of like a condo, so it's, I mean, the hurricane I didn't think was like too much, and then I went through the last hurricane in Fort Myers. I was like, wow, this is the real deal.
Yeah.
You know, it was
We
pretty.
grew up having hurricane parties and keggers, but they weren't this bad anymore. We used to brave them on the beach.
You know what hit?
Awesome. Really?
Oh, we were so stupid. We should have been dead
I mean, that's
50
pretty
times
cool,
over.
honestly.
We
Let's bring a keg to a beach. It's a hurricane. Let's go. It sounds fun. We were dumb.
we were watching the movie. I don't know if you remember the movie The Perfect Storm
Yeah.
with George Clooney. We were watching that like during the hurricane, and
really?
it's way different.
I
It's
bet.
like,
I bet.
It hits a little different, doesn't it?
It's different. So, New Mexico, we're in dark green because of the increases, the added equity, and then ultimately how much sun we have here. That it's one of the states where you can maximize the money putting back into your pocket. Like I mentioned, it's savings, control, predictability, equity, and environment being like the big five. And then, you know, ever since they did the 10% increases, that went into like the green as far as like what we pay per kilowatt. So all I'm really going to do is I break down, hey, this is the situation now.
Yeah.
The main reason that deters people from going solar is they don't want to pay the upfront cost, the engineering, the installation, the labor. If I said, hey, you guys have to write me a check to get this thing started, most people are going to say, hey, I want to think about it, like give me a little bit of time. I'd show you a way that we cover all the upfront costs.
Okay.
Where we just take the money you would have given to the utility company, redirect it into ownership. The cool thing about New Mexico is you get a state tax credit as well as federal. One of, I believe, 4 states in the country that does that. And it's a check. So that comes 9 to 12 months after the physical installation is complete. It's equivalent to 10%. So ultimately 40% of this is covered in credits. Federal tax credit is based on you paying federal income tax or pulling out of your 401k or something like that. But that's one of the cool parts about it. Zero out of pocket, own power, eliminate fees, add equity. Fixed amount, tax credit. We warranty the system on the hook for 25 years. The production as well. It's better for the environment, liability to assets. So I'll get right to the brass tacks, as my dad calls it. Were you able to take a look at the utility bill?
Yes, we have
Okay.
everything optimized.
So what do you, I always like to ask because it's usually people are pretty accurate, but what do you think the true average is that you pay for the power bill? If you were to take the last 12 months and find like the true average.
$250 average. In the summer, I'm probably hitting, actually, last summer I was hitting $450 a month before the
Okay.
new air conditioner. It was almost $500
Okay.
because that system was killing me.
We call that the heart attack bill. The 500
Yeah,
comes
so
in
that,
there.
you know, July and August I was getting
Yep.
hammered. But then in winter I was like under 2. So I would say now I'm probably closer to 250 average because I didn't have that giant spike. I might be at 350. I don't know. I gave you the bill.
What did
it
you
was
have?
last
What did
month.
you have off the actual bill?
I actually have her at 246.
246. Okay.
So that's
I'm a
Within
rock
$5.
star. I know my
that's
shit.
good, yeah.
Price. If it was Price is Right, she'd be on the showcase right there. Yeah.
I do all the bills. He doesn't know.
Gotcha.
All right. I'm gonna use 250 just because I'd rather do 250 multiplied by 12 than 246. So 250.
And I'm probably spending like 115 or something for electric or gas, whatever the other one is.
All right. So.
New Mexico gas, yeah.
So this is just showing you that if there was never an increase on power again, and the amounts just stayed the same before I factor in any sort of inflation or rate increases, that's, whether you're here or not, most people don't stay in a home for 30 years, but that's just the length of the system. You know, you're getting a bare minimum of, we do a 25-year warranty on the system, similar to a 100,000-mile warranty in a car. If I take the $3,000, multiply it by 10, 20, or 30, that's just the amount that power would be if there was never an increase. So what do we want out of it? Obviously, we're not a charity saying, hey, we're going to cover all the upfront costs. We want to be able to use you as a reference point. Non-disclosure, if a neighbor asks to say you're part of a special marketing program, we keep a small little sign in the front planter or a magnet next to the meter, whatever you guys prefer. And then on the day of the install, we ask to fly a drone to just show the before and after, especially with it being like the newer technology, a little bit more low profile.
Okay.
These are the two biggest things that I try to get families to understand is Typically, when you go solar, they cap the amount at a 2.9% escalator. What that means is, say if the amount was $100 a month, year 2, the most it could ever increase to is 102.90. The year after that, the most it could increase to is 105.80. We exempt you from that, meaning that we'd put you into a 0% cap, meaning the number that Chris shows us today would be the same amount that you'd pay for power 5-6 years from now. Or if you paid off the system, then there would just be no sort of, there'd be just no sort of monthly amount, and you'd own that system outright.
I guess I don't understand that part. What are you talking about?
So right now, the utility company has the ability to raise our rate at any time. That's like the rate increase. The easiest way to put it is a rate increase.
Just the kilowatt hour rate increase.
Yep, so this is a fixed amount, meaning that there would never be an increase on the amount that you would pay on a monthly, so let's say the amount came to let's just throw out $150, just throw that number out there, $150. The second year, it could never be like, oh, we're increasing the amount that you pay per month.
What is that amount? So who are we paying now if we're not paying P&M?
We're replacing your high and rising P&M, and you're basically paying for the system through monthly installments.
Okay.
That increase the value of the property.
Right.
And there would be no increases on the number as far as what you pay on a monthly
All right,
basis
so
for
what
paying the
is-
system outright.
Hedging against the
Yeah, so give me the bad news on the total price and how long I would decide I want to finance it for. So if I want to do $200 a month, how many months is it going to take me to pay it off?
Yep, so he's going to show us here in 20 seconds. So 0 out of pocket, own your power source, you eliminate the fees, the amount's fixed, better for the environment, you add equity, tax credits 30%, shows 26, but it got increased, and then you get 10% back from the state. Okay. So as far as the brass tacks, what was the offset? I'm just going to go through this, and if you can pull up the design to show them what it looks like.
Yeah, 103.
103, just showing you that you're going to produce a little bit more kilowatts that you've used over the last 12 months. It was a 9 kilowatt system?
Correct.
Okay, 9 kilowatt system. So they're getting roughly about $30,000 in additional home value. That's the design right here. What was the total federal tax credit? 16,272 kilowatt hours.
That's the production.
And the tax credit federally?
Federal tax came out to 10.5.
Exactly.
10.560.96.
Okay, and then the state tax credit?
3520.32.
3520.
Yeah.
And a 0% escalator. What was the total net system amount?
Net system comes in at 21,122.
122. So net. And the tax credit, was that factoring in both tax credits?
Yes, the 21,122. Yeah.
So 14,880.
So when I get these tax credits, I'm just going to hand them over to you so I can get closer to my net?
Most people do that. Yep.
They do, correct.
And the gross?
Gross coming in at 35,203.21.
All right, so 21,000, let's just call it 21.
And then the fixed amount on the monthly?
We're cutting their bill to 157.
Okay, so 157 would be your fixed amount.
So that's 105 months at 200 a month.
Yeah, so this could go up or down. Like if you wanted to, this is what your total amount would be for the system on the net, on the gross, on the tax credit. Obviously, you applying it into the system. If you paid off the system early, then you're saving a little bit on the interest. It's a true zero cash, basically the same thing if you bought cash. If you paid off the system early, then you're saving a little bit on the interest. But this is the gross, this is the tax credit, this is the net, this is what goes away.
It's based on the 21.
Correct.
Okay.
So they expect you after month 16 to reapply both credits.
Mm-hmm.
If not, there is a slight jump, but now you have close to $13,000 back in taxes. So it's really up to you.
So if we didn't apply the credit, it'd go to 258.
That's correct.
Which isn't
month.
bad.
Right. And now you have
Well, but do you pay
$14,000.
258 in December, in January, and March? So
I don't care about that. I mean, as
Well,
long as it's an even
so there's
number.
Yeah.
There's two parts of it. There's that part, and then there's the part of, are we actually
covering what we're using? Are we going to have any
We're going to
overage
have at least 3 months,
if we're going to owe?
possibly 5 months, where we'd have to pull more power than what we're generating, if that's what I
If the,
think the green light. Yeah,
if the system gets installed around here, which is what we're looking, then you're going to be credit banking all the way here.
All right, fair enough.
So that you wouldn't, if the system got installed here, then you're going to get two bills.
You're gonna get whammied.
It's just where the time of the year is.
And how long and how much can it hold? Like,
But that's kind of equivalent to, if we're paying $250 here,
Yeah.
we're still getting credit. That's still good. Yeah, good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in PNM, it's the strongest way that they do solar. It's a 1-for-1 credit, meaning as long as you produce 1 kilowatt hour, they will return 1 kilowatt hour, which is why we're coming in at 103.
okay.
If you guys are foreseeing that you might use more energy in the future, we can add some more.
No, we're going to lose because the kid's leaving
Okay,
next year.
well then I think this is,
And the 45-minute showers will end.
yeah.
Well,
Do all of you do this?
but that's gas, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
hot.
never mind.
That's not
But when they do leave, then there will be less
Yeah,
consumption.
yeah.
consumption is the air
Oh.
conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, to that point, we'd be more than happy to show you one more panel. Two
Well,
more,
whatever, what's the cost of one more panel? Feels like we got a lot of.
Space up on the roof?
Well, if you, he's probably not going to land that one.
Here, let's put
If he,
Where does the design look like real quick? Can I see
there,
it?
there wasn't
It's
a
all
huge amount of
south-facing.
space left, but maybe enough for one or two.
Yeah, we can
over
put one or
here.
two on top right here.
Oh, really?
Next to the two
Not
that
over
are.
here, but it doesn't.
And how many kilowatts did they consume last year?
Oh, that's what you have.
Yeah, so last year they consumed 15,802.
And what-
15,802, and this is going to produce 16,272. So you get about 500 additional kilowatts based on your last 12 months of usage. So if you go down on the usage a little
What are you
bit,
using for your solar input?
This is based off of the utility bill. That's your guys'.
I know, but when you're generating energy, you got to count how many days of sunshine and what's the
Right,
solar
right. So we're taking the
intensity
location, the orientation, and where we are located geographically.
what are you using for your average and your solar density, so over the roof? I mean, it
For this
varies.
specific,
Yeah, because it's going to vary, right?
I can search it for this specific location if you like.
Okay, so you're just using some national average?
It's an API. It just does it
Okay.
automatically, yeah.
It's an AI, it's a robot.
Yeah, I can't tell
It's
you
in there?
exactly what it's
No,
pulling
you-
from.
yeah.
Yeah.
can talk
But I
to it
can say
later.
that, we do a lot of these and we've never had issues.
Typically, we give you the production of the system. We're gonna actually survey the home and take it, and then we do the guarantee production.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to explain to them how that
5
works?
years, yeah. So
One of the best parts, because a warranty is great, but production is really what you're wanting. So production guarantee.
right, so for 25 years, we understand that if there was nobody held accountable, you guys would be, right, if the production fell off a cliff. So for the 25 years, we actually go ahead and warranty the 16272 at a linear degradation, right? It has to obviously fall under those terms, but as long as that does, then if it didn't, we would be out here to fix it.
So who is we if you don't exist anymore in 10 years?
The manufacturer of one of the largest solar panel manufacturers in the United States.
And how long have they been producing?
I can't tell you off the top of my head there.
Okay.
Yeah. But I know we've been in business for 10. So,
Okay.
I mean, we aren't going
Because it's great when but if a company bites it,
Yeah.
then who do you call?
And we understand that. We try to be all-encompassing as much as possible.
And the thing I would look at is, solar is one of the fastest growing industries. Like there's some states that are now just getting approved for solar, and it's one of the, it's growing.
No, I get it, but mismanagement happens
Yeah,
in
of course.
companies and everybody,
Yeah.
somebody sues somebody and that's the end. But I just want to know from the manufacturer's standpoint, are they going to pick another vendor to honor, repair, all that stuff if you as the vendor for the product don't exist?
I don't believe so. It's their product still, So as long as it's their product.
Yeah. I just want to make sure they're going to say, well, we don't we're not covering the state of New Mexico anymore because that company's out of business.
Sure.
The next closest place is Utah, and they're not coming to you,
What's the,
right?
what does it look like with the two other panels?
Price-wise?
Yeah, and
Percentage.
and then this is based on how many years?
It's 25 is the term.
Oh, 25 years. Seems a little long for us.
So it did
So,
increase your 25-year savings as well.
so it'd be $300 a month at 10 years, with the dividends applied.
The rebates applied.
Yeah, whatever rebate side of the credit. Now, this is tax credit, so they don't send us a check. It makes us basically,
No, he said they send a check.
The state.
Send a check, so
But
where
the
does
federal
that?
tax
Federal,
credit means it just comes off our tax bill.
Right. So it's a 1-for-1 credit against your tax liability.
Yeah. Which is okay. I mean, they pay more than $14,000 a year in taxes.
And you have 10 years to claim that. So like say if you only claimed 8 out of the 10, you claim the following 2 the second year.
But to send it to you,
If it's not submitted prior to the 16 months, then yes, it would increase accordingly, right? So if you got in half, it would only amortize in between, right?
yeah, but we have to send that to you guys, though.
You pay it to Dividend, the financing company.
Yeah.
So essentially, either you take it out of your checking and then you wait for it to come
And what's
in,
the
or-
finance rate?
Yeah, it's
What's
a
the
399
percentage?
fixed.
399?
So are we saying that when I do the taxes, that I'm gonna get that additional $10,000-$11,000 on top of my already refund? Is that
Yeah,
planned
sort of.
accordingly?
It's just that if we paid enough in tax, like where we get a refund,
Yes, we pay enough
I
in
know.
tax.
you would get up to $14,000 more
Yep.
on this particular number.
Okay.
But if we only had like 10,000 total tax, we would only get 10,000 back, and then he says
Instead of giving the money to Uncle Sam, you're deferring it into this, and that's how we get to the $60,000-$70,000 in savings over time. Plus the inflation, really that number's over $100,000 in savings.
And then if we wanted to, let's say we could pay it off anytime we wanted.
No premium penalty.
Why does this go up so much? It was 35, we added 2 panels and went to 48. It seems like a lot.
So I'll explain to you what's going on here. So did you see how the last one was a 699? This is a 399. So the last financial product, I'll put it back to
You did
what
a
it was.
25-year.
I'll put it back to what it was just to explain to you guys this concept. This is where we started, well, minus the 2 panels, right?
Yeah.
And it's a 699 as you can see. The way it works with these financing companies is that if you would like to opt into the 399, you're going to be hit with what's called the dealer fee, which means that they're going to have you pay down the interest up front.
Okay.
So they add.
Yeah.
It's not a deal.
Yeah.
It's the same 6.99. It's just
Correct.
Yeah.
in there in a
Correct.
different way.
Exactly.
Correct. Now the thing is though, is that if you're going to actually pay it off in the 120 months, then it might make sense to do 399 because it's a lower interest compounding, right, versus 699 compounding. So that's where you might do, because if you're going to pay it off
Is
early,
it?
then
If you have to buy it down, wouldn't it be the longest at the highest interest? Weird.
yeah, that means that financial product to them is as expensive as the other one,
Yeah.
even though it might be different terms and stuff.
So when you did this one,
399? Yeah, the 699. Yeah. That's the lowest principal, aka your most savings.
I thought it was good. Why is it 23 now? I thought it was
Because we added 2
25.
panels. Oh, no, it used to be
Is it?
21, then we added 2 panels.
This is with the 2 panels?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But there's no prepayment penalty, so
Right.
we can throw money at it when we have it if we want to. But I don't know if my payment is at, where do we have it, at 250 or 3? Where's my payment?
No, so with the 25-year 699, you're sitting at 172.
Okay,
So-
but put it back at the 10-year?
Okay.
All right, but with no prepayment, I can always send you $250 a month,
Yep, that's
right?
correct.
I
yeah.
can pick what number I'm going to send you and just know that I have to make my minimum of 172.
That's correct. And then for the first 16 months, anything above the 172 goes straight towards the principal.
Okay.
And then after month 16,
So it's like any other
50-50.
HELOC or any other kind of loan.
So it wouldn't be horrible in theory if we retired in 10 years and we still had, 12 grand to pay off on this
Well, it's
thing.
not really going to matter because it's going to be just like a P&M bill coming in.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. The house has to get powered one way or another. So I'm just concerned, I'm not really concerned at all because if we leave, somebody inherits a good deal and, I used to do mortgage and solar at that point was not adding any real equity. It wasn't changing the per square footage on a house. It just maybe made it sell faster, but it didn't change the actual value.
Yep.
It wasn't included in the appraisal as giving you a bump. That might have changed since I retired, as far as giving you, you know, more bang for your buck. But back when I was doing it, it didn't do anything. Much like a pool. Doesn't help you unless somebody wants one.
Yeah, we hear where you're coming from. What we've found is that the more and more this becomes normalized, the more and more people are going to begin
Search it out, maybe.
you know?
Yeah.
I always show people this, like one study by Zillow confirmed that solar installations increase the home's resale value by up to $5,900 for each kilowatt.
Okay.
This is a 9 kilowatt system. I lowballed it to $30K or 4% increase of the home's value. So, I mean, I always tell people if you do go to sell the home, make sure your realtor takes a drone photo, like showing
Will you
off.
provide that? If I'm letting you do the drone, can you
Yeah.
send me a video just so I have it?
Yeah, we can do that.
9.9 now for the kilowatt because they added the two
All right, so
panels.
9.9, yeah, we can provide that for you. So we do have to survey the home. That's the first part of this, is they're gonna come take a look at the roof, make sure everything is structurally sound. Then we submit an application to P&M. This is the part where they're gonna drag their feet. It's just we have no control over that. So I'm gonna tell you it's a 90 to 120 day process to having the panels installed, because after the inspection, or after the P&M comes back, then we have the permitting approved, and then we schedule the install, then we install it, then it gets inspected, then it gets turned on. It may be sooner than 4 months, but if I tell you it's 60 days and that takes 90, then it's like, I'd rather tell you later and then.
So we're November.
Yeah, it's definitely be before the end of the year, but you know, ultimately there's little steps, and Chris is the one that manages the entire project, so you know, he'd be checking in with you, let you know any updates on the project, and then it's just really just a waiting game, you know. We just do the qualification, they verify you're on the
So
deed.
that 172 can never go up.
Correct.
The only difference is, it's always tell, because I had one situation where somebody's like, he told me it was 172. When we get to the final form, that 172 could go up to 172.50 or down to 171.50. It's within
Yeah,
a
okay.
50 cents range
Yeah,
from that.
right, yeah.
Unless you decided to go on a vacation with the tax credits,
Yeah.
you know, or didn't apply them into the system, then on the
Yeah.
17th month. But yeah, the 172 could technically go up 50 cents or down 50 cents once we get to the form that allows us for interconnection.
So I would, if we're installed, I can apply this to my taxes for 2023.
Yeah.
And apply it pretty darn quick, since
Yeah.
we'd be hitting the end of the
Yeah.
year anyway.
100%.
There's some people that are W-2 on their checks, and they file, I think it's called a W-9 or something, and they start claiming it immediately. So if they're taxed $400 out of their check every week, they start getting that back immediately. There's
What do you mean?
Yeah, so this is a guy who's all in solar tax. Like, I can leave you with this guy's phone number,
Yeah.
and you could. He just like tells me new stuff all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
I like the
if
tax
you
stuff.
really understand tax stuff, like, you know, like this guy does, all he does is solar taxes. That's
Okay.
all he does is the tax credit
Yeah.
for solar.
What about dust and getting dirty and stuff like that?
We do have a lot of dust storms out here.
Yep. So the panels are monitored. As long as you guys have internet connection, you'll be able to monitor the system, see what your production is. But typically, if there was dust, you could spray them with a hose.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you guys don't do that maintenance, or there's no maintenance for that? We would have to do it.
I mean, we have a partner that could potentially, you know, come out, give an estimate for, because we either do like quarterly, biannually, you know, things like that. But we have seen that it's very marginal in regards to the production. So
okay.
it's just dependent on if you guys want to add that expense. But I'd be more than happy to go through that with you guys after.
I started doing this in Massachusetts, and you know, obviously there's snow on the panels,
Yeah, right,
and
yeah.
people still have production out of the panels during the winter.
We'll get some
And-
snow every once in a while.
Up to you, buddy.
Oh my God.
Up to you.
We just went over this. Who pays all the bills?
I pay them, but I'm tired of being the person that spends all our money.
And that's your savings once you factor in the inflation would be 128K back in your pocket, and then this is on a 4% annual increase. What the utility bill we predict would be over the course of time.
Well, if you want to be, maybe we just put one panel on, because we already had a $500 cushion on our really bad year last year.
And like, say if we took one panel off, they would make that they would make it very even on the install, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't be like it would be off to the
They
right
would
or
read-
something.
This is all preliminary.
Yeah.
Next step is having someone come.
So we could take one off, and what, that takes off $1,500?
I don't know. It wasn't. We added 2. It wasn't really that much difference.
That's gonna bring you to like a 108.
164.
From
Yeah,
a
it
what,
was like-
173?
Each panel was
172.
like 10
Okay,
bucks.
so yeah.
It started at 155. It was like 20
So
bucks.
I guess my question is there any, like rollover minutes, is there any time period where they cannot continue to roll over? Like, are you reaching any kind of limit that you've reached your maximum?
No, they roll over year after year. So
Okay.
they won't actually cut you the check and cash.
No, but it'll
roll
go
over
towards the
year
next,
after
but
year
there's no,
after
I'm
year.
not gonna
Alright, so
hit a
there's
wall.
max.
There's also no guarantee they don't change it and stop paying for it.
It's a grandfather
No,
clause
grandfather.
once you get
Oh, is
the
it?
approval.
Oh, okay.
But and that's why a lot of the P&M applications are slowing down, because if you're in the approval process and they red zone the area before they give the interconnection documents, like that's happened to people that I had like that were super happy about doing it,
Yeah.
and they're like pumped up, and I'm like, yeah, everything's good. The interconnection documents in process.
Yeah.
Area gets red zoned before the approval.
Yeah.
You can't the systems are all grid dependent, you know.
Right, yeah. So whatever agreement we sign at that point is contingent upon getting approval, right? Okay.
My concern is just not increasing my winter, which my winter, I don't know, what was my winter last winter? Do you have it broken down by month, or you just have my annual?
I mean, I can get pretty close. So December, you guys consumed December, right?
Yeah.
Okay, December.
December, January, February.
You got me to do all of them.
Yeah, I mean,
Alright,
make an average out of those 3 months.
So you guys are consuming 1090 plus 1199 plus 991 times point average rate that we see out here around 18 cents, depending on when you use it.
Only during the day.
Yeah, so you're sitting at 196 per month on average in the winter still, anyways.
I could look it up.
No, I know. Without going inside. Yeah, so we're still paying less even in the least amount of months.
Okay, but we're gonna pay 172 plus whatever this overage is.
But we hopefully won't have an overage because we're gonna have rollover
you're gonna have
from
credits.
everything that we're
Okay.
Yeah,
saving.
you'll have it on those
Because look at
months.
how low under the bar.
Yeah.
Unless you were to get, if this
That's fine.
for some reason didn't get installed until next July,
Yeah.
or if you did this in whatever
Yeah, but
February.
we got 6 months
Yeah, but
starting in
only-
November.
Yeah.
The only way to tell is if that balances out is if you took all of these
The 6.
and you made the average, and then that green line falls under the average.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, yes, as well as just calculating consumption versus production.
Yeah, same thing. 172.
It basically stops the clock on rate increases. That's what it does. It locks us in.
Yeah, and the other thing is, say you did a
And
one.
PNM is failing.
If you did a 103 and then you decided to get an electric car or something happened like that, then you've got a small little pebble in your shoe, which is a small electric bill. You know, if you decided to say, hey, we want to get something, we can always add panels, but it's better to do it first time around than doing it a second.
Yeah. Well, I think this is perfect for you.
Do what?
You said they'd have to force them to do electric.
Oh, no, my nephew, no. Our nephew is a Tesla junkie.
Oh, yeah.
And then, Chris, what's your cell phone?
It's area code 847.
He can text you a digital business card too, but just so you have it on here, 847. Just kind of like break down. Obviously, it's chicken scratch, but everything that's on the form will be the same way that it is on there.
And can I please have image right now?
Oh, that changed. That changed too.
What, gross net?
Yeah,
What?
gross.
What did I make?
The tax credit will go up a little bit more too because the gross went
Right.
up.
And then additional income. For the home? No? Doesn't matter.
What do you mean for the home?
Like spouse, domestic
Including me.
partner.
No, I'm
Yeah.
negligible.
Okay.
It won't make a
We
difference.
just write her business off, obviously.
Is the home paid for?
No.
Okay.
What
Monthly
is-
mortgage?
Says,
I like this one.
It's clean.
Credit.
Congratulations. You guys were approved.
better be. What's the score? How'd it come back? Doesn't
No,
matter.
it
Does
doesn't.
it fluctuate?
It'll show us
Oh, it just
actually.
says yay and nay?
Actually, the last one that I was just with, they had to call us, but it was because the woman's credit was frozen. So we had to call Equifax, unfreeze it, and then I had the other guy stay there, and he's,
So this is gonna kind of just pop up
In Fort
some
Hills, you're gonna have a
questions to
rough
verify
time.
your
'Cause
identity.
This is a new community, it's only
Yeah.
19 years
give it
old,
another second.
but a lot of the houses here are older, and if they don't have updated roofing,
yep.
which has stopped us before we had our roof replaced, because then, we got a call, so I gotta take everything off, put everything back
Yeah, we got
on.
lucky in a way, 'cause
But we had hailstorms, so it was
Insurance?
mostly covered, mostly.
Yeah.
like 75.
What do you have to pay, a percentage of your home property deductible or a fixed
No,
amount?
it just depends on
Yeah.
what they're willing to
depends
pay
on
for the
policy.
area and who you can, and who, they just cut you a check and say you pay for it.
Yeah.
Do what you want with it.
Well, in Florida, when they had a windstorm, it falls into your non-peril deductible, and then it's like $500 to $1,000, and they get the whole roof replaced. But other places, it's a percentage of their property
There
value.
wasn't really any holes, it was just damage to the,
So is this video documentation of this transaction to be used for training purposes? Is that what this is? You're not gonna put me on a commercial, right? I don't have any makeup on, man. Huh?
Netflix.
Yeah, documentary.
Netflix
Dude.
documentary. You know Selling Sunset? We're going to be the new Selling
Yo,
Sunset.
man.
So.
And you guys are going to be the cover photo as
No,
well.
okay,
so.
that,
thumbnail.
that's not okay. No, we would not do you any favors. We're a hot mess.
I have to head to a 5 p.m., so I'll just basically wait for him to come out, and I've got to take off, but he'll wrap everything up with you guys, and then he'll schedule a survey with you, and then after the survey is scheduled, I'm pretty sure what happens, and I could be wrong on this, but he's going to fill out a P&M application, and then P&M is going to send you something, and you have a 48-hour window from when they send it to fill it out. Otherwise, they void it, and we have to go through the P&M application again. It's just like a little hoop that they do. So
he'll explain that.
he'll explain that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll wait for him to come out. So just because the next one is about 20 minutes away from here. So. All right, Chris. One thing Chris obviously not going to say about himself, he's one of the best at managing the project. So like he really takes care of everything, pays attention to the details, communicates with you throughout the process. So you got a good one. I know he's got a good mustache, but he also will take good care of you guys as far as the project. So
Thank you.
nice to meet you guys.
Bye.
All right,
Thank you.
take care. Bye now.